Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to 94.9 32 FM. And this is Scoreboard Reloaded, where we take a look at some of the biggest headlines in the world of sports. Some, the last 48 hours, or depend, 24, and some can even be a few minutes ago. That's what we love to do. And talking about a few minutes ago, we've been counting and getting updates from the camp of the Super Eagles. I am Peter Omar. I've been joined by SAMIES, and together we take a look at the Super Eagles training, Super Eagles camp, the names in camp. Do I call these two guys who you will hear their voice gladiators? Okay, maybe. Because Francis Uzoh, who many have criticized, how come his name popped up in the Super Eagles squad list? He's on the show this afternoon with us. We will hear from him. And of course, Ebenezer. Okay, plays for Pisa. He's on loan from the Italian club, talking about Inter Milan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you also hear this to speak to us. For Ebenezer, he will have to tell you that how many years ago he just left Remo Stars. What's the name of the club now? Beyond Limits, the feeder team of Remo Stars to go play in Italy. So if you think he cannot speak Yoruba, come on, you take a listen to him at the point in time on the show. And then we switch away from those national teams as we count down to the African Cup of Nations. Starts this weekend, Sunday to be precise. Morocco, the host, will be playing against Comoros. And for the host, I've been checking. Maybe the one that comes to mind readily or quickly has to be Ivory Coast, who hosted and won. When was the last time, apart from the Ivory Coast, of a nation that hosted and won the Nations Cup? It's been a while. And like I said,
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Take away Ivory Coast, who won recent, but for the others, it's always a tough one. For Morocco, how tough will this be? SAMIES will tell me. And that will be the question on my leaves this week. I'll be asking in terms of colleagues and friends, pundits on the show. So you'll get to hear SAMIES' voice today. And I'll see how I can pull that question around some pundits to say, how massive is this? I know people talk about Morocco have what it takes to win the Nations Cup. We saw what they did at the last World Cup. So they have it in terms of infrastructure. Don't forget that this Nations Cup, every national team have got their own base. You don't need to share base with anybody. You've got your camping, your hotel, the training facilities, all to yourself. And so Morocco has done everything to say, you know what, this looks like a World Cup, but it's African Cup of Nations. So for all of this they've done, can they go ahead and win the African Cup of Nations? It's a massive one. When talking about the odds, it favors the Atlas Lions of Morocco to win. So from there, we jump over to some club football over the weekend. Hey, it's going to be a neck-to-neck in terms of the race in England. We've got 2 points separating the Arsenal and Manchester City. And in Italy also, looks like this might also go like 1, 2, 3 teams battling for the title. And in England, there was a big derby on Sunday. You don't know that Sunderland against Newcastle is a derby. In case you don't know, we'll tell you more about that. SAMIES, it's a pleasure having you with me on the show. Before we talk any further, you get to hear from SAMIES. Let's listen to Francis Uzoh. Is from Cyprus. He's Nigerian. Plays football for Omonia. Omonia what?
Nicosia.
Omonia Nicosia. Cyprus. You see, that will happen to you when you don't play for a top side. We'll have to just put that name in our head. So take a listen to Francis Uzoh. He has missed the vibe, right? He has missed the players. What was the last time was with the Eagles, SAMIES? Can you remember the last time it was?
Fires, first game.
That's over here now.
Yes.
So we'll have to go and dig and bring Uzoh. And if you have seen the video from the NFF handle, he's just smiling. You know why he's smiling? I thought dollar go enter.
But aside from that, good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you, SAMIES.
For Uzoh, he has been, or this is going to be his fourth African Cup of Nations.
So it's not new to
campaign. He's not new to it, but being his fourth African Cup of Nations title, you also tell that he has had a run of just one game in the last 3 African Cup of Nations title. Yes, he missed the last one. He missed the last one there in Ivory Coast. So you say that from when we finished the second, third. That free kick 𝐃𝐈𝐒 fumbled against Algeria, which settled us for the third place game.
I remember that.
The previous ones, we went to Cameroon also. It was in goal in one game, and
that means he has been part of the party, not really in goal.
Not really in goal, but he has been a part of the team.
So this one doesn't look like it will be in goal.
Yes, but a lot of people also criticize. Of course, if people don't know, he is the earlier player that got to the camp first. It was an early bird.
When you don't, he's the first to get to camp.
Yes.
Not even the early, he's the first that got to camp.
Yes.
So someone will say jokingly that because he cannot get a job, Sorry, they keep.
So, but you look at where it's coming from also to Morocco, to Egypt. That's
It's close.
Cyprus.
Cyprus. That's Southern Europe.
So
from what I know.
We look at that also, the what's it called? The closeness of that's all of these things. The distance.
The proximity.
Proximity. That's the English I was looking for.
Penty that you're painted, SAMIES, for me, it has to do with mommy. Because you don't feature regularly for your club. So they can push you out and tell you, know what, you can take the flight to Egypt. We don't mind. But funny thing is that his club has got a game in the UEFA Conference League on Thursday, but they can do without him. So it's been told to go, right?
In
so
5 games this season, he has been the one in goal in the Europa Conference League for his club side.
Well, I said they've got a game coming up on Thursday in the Conference League. So they have to tell him, you know what, you can just fly to Egypt and be on your way to the Nations Cup. We'll be fine. Now, just take a listen to 𝐒𝐿𝐶𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐈𝐒 speaking in camp. Like we said, he's the first to get to camp. He's the first to open the gates to welcome the other players. And the 11, as we speak, when we come, we'll tell you those 11 players, 10 now, including 𝐒𝐿𝐶𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐈𝐒 in Egypt ahead of the friendly game against the Pharaohs of Egypt on Tuesday night.
I missed quite a lot. But I think I missed the boys. To be honest, I missed the boys. I missed the vibe in the camp, because we've been quite a lot together. And I think the most noticeable thing I missed is the boys, being around the boys and us being together in all types of challenges. I do once in a while. We do chat, we check up on each other. So I have my own colleagues that I'm quite closer to. But in general, I do reach out to the boys. I was filled with joy, a joy that I cannot actually express to you right now. But yeah, it was relieving to know that I'm coming back again to be with the boys and to have that same feeling we used to have before, and to represent Nigeria, which is the most important thing. I think.
Of course, important for anyone who want to play for the Super Eagles and you got the call up. You'll be so excited. And for us all, he has got the call up. Last time I saw him was in Abuja against the Black Stars of Ghana. Let's move on. Talking about moving on, we jump from a player playing football in Cyprus to the one in Italy, and that league we know well, and that league we know Pisa, and that league we can call easy Inter, Atalanta, without even troubling our head. Take a listen to Ebenezer, and then we'll come back and tell you the number of players in camp. We're just trying to check all over again because these things can come in. What do you put it? Surprise.
Prompt.
Can just come like that in a seconds, and you just see that name pop up. So while I'm thinking about 11, however, if I go play this and come back and I kind of refresh and I see 15 or 13. But first, take a listen to Ebenezer, and we'll be back for more.
So you are a barber. You can actually barb professionally.
Yeah. I know how to barb.
You know how to barb?
Yeah. Orúkọ mi ni Akínsánmi Ebenezer. Ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù fún Pisa, SC àti fún Super Eagles. I was not even expecting it, to be honest. I'm not expecting it. So because I was first call up, doing the qualifier for the World Cup. I was called up, then I got injured. So when they called me up, when I just see the invitation, to be honest, I call someone who is closer to me, then I start to cry, because it has been my dream for so long. I've been trying to play for national team for so long, since under 17, under 20. I think then maybe I'm not good enough, So, but I just feel maybe when I keep on pushing and give all my possible best, maybe one day I'll be called up to a national team.
And indeed, he got the call up to the national team. He's doing his bit. I won't say done, because he's still at that age looking for more opportunities. Opportunities didn't come for him at Inter. They have to send him out on loan to Pisa. SAMIES, when I call Pisa, there's this thing I just feel about someone just putting a pizza right in front of me.
You know, it's the
There's no
season,
how you want
it's
to.
the season of love.
Yeah, yeah,
Make someone that also say, oh,
There's no way you want
he
to mention.
deserves it.
I know the pizza is it PIZZ
PIZZA,
double ZA
yeah.
okay, but this one is PISA.
SA.
So it's a pizza.
They are 19th in the Italian Serie A.
Yeah, okay.
Their first season from relegation. And
Yeah. And it's on loan.
Yes.
It's
From
on
Inter
loan.
Milan,
Yeah.
a top club like that. So,
There's no space at Inter.
of course,
There's no space at
those
Inter.
guys are still running the
Yeah.
race.
Yeah. So let's go to the camp of the Eagles and see the number of players in camp that can help us for the friendly game. I'm not sure if that game will be live on anywhere, but you know how Nigerians you can search and see. But for us, the number of players expected in camp today are not in camp yet, and we've got our first game coming up in a few days from now. So we look forward to Nations Cup. So SAMIES, when we come back, you help me. We're not going anywhere. We're here, but your turn to help us with the number of players in camp.
Well, the three goalkeepers in camp, that's Francis Ozor, Stanley Wabali, and Amaso Basioge. Then we can talk about the guys from Italy, in which we mentioned one of the names. That's Beniza Akinsamiro and Fisa Bashir, who trades his game for Lazio. Shimlogo Ajayi from West Brom. And the championship, Ademola Lukman, Bright Asai Samuel, Igo Ogbu, Tochukwu Nadi, and Zaidu Sanusi. These are the players in camp, 11 players in camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I think, that's still a good turnout.
That's two
for now.
goalkeepers in
Three.
camp. Oh, the three goalkeepers
The
are
three
in camp.
goalkeepers are in camp.
Wow.
Maybe we can just say this is going to be some of the, okay, let's fight for our position. Maybe the goalkeepers know that it's time to fight for your position. But when we talk about goalkeepers as well, yesterday, he kept his third clean sheet of the season. I know.
Let's talk about.
This is me more
Let's
like
talk about him.
crying over a spilled milk.
Let's talk about him. Because I know if there's one thing that have generated so much in terms of traffic on social media, right on
Most
X.
of the Nigerians who were excluded from the list were on target with their club sides. And even, let's say, most Nigerians did well over the weekend. Midway.
Tell me one. I know of the man from Wolves.
He scored his first Premier League goal.
Again was it dropped from the team?
No, he was not dropped. No, he
scored. Okay.
And Aquadam scored and provided an assist.
Yes.
Victor Osimhen, he scored also. So Calvin Bassey, he scored also.
That's a good way to wish your club a Merry Christmas.
Oh, your national team.
Yes. Yes, and tell the national team I'm coming. So wish the club. Don't miss me too much. I'll leave you with a goal. And so it's good to see Ako Adams and both Chidera scored in Seville's win against Real Oviedo.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Tolu, who scored, but the goal wasn't enough for his team to get maximum points. Let's talk about Maduka Okoye, since you mentioned him. Last night in Udine, a slow one against the almighty Napoli, the defending champion of the Italian League, by a goal to nil. And we were together yesterday when you said to me, "Hey, come, have you heard?" I said, "What?" He said, "Okoye just kept a clean sheet." And you know, you have to just dig and find out what the discussion is all about for Maduka Okoye. If what I heard is anything to go by, it was him needing an assurance from Eggshell if he would be number one. And I remember saying this to you and Dolapo, that it's about evaluating your options. You are number one in Udinese, you're not sure of being number one with the national team. Why leave the national team? Why leave your club football and go play national team? So maybe that kind of work, because I've seen arguments about why not take it to the Nations Cup. But if the young man had a discussion with the head coach and the coach could not assure him of number one, then we just have to just respect his opinion.
Well, for Maduka Okoye, from if that is the statement we can go by, I think that is tenable to so many who definitely respect the decision who would respect the decision in which Maduka Okoye has made just to be excused from the national team. Yes, for a goalkeeper who has had a stint with the team, and of course he took a break, he came back after so many back and forths with the national team, and also fans of the game in 2018 after outstart from the African Cup of Nations there in Cameroon. So we can also say that in the recent years, let's say the last 2 years, he has also been part of the setup, but he has not been given the chance to stay in goal for consecutive games. Since the 2018 African Cup of Nations, Maduka Okoye has not been in goal for consecutive games for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And for a player who has done so well for himself, moved from, I think it was PSV Eindhoven to Watford, and from Watford, he is now in the Italian Serie A
Yeah, went
with
to Udinese.
Udinese. So you say that it's a player who also has gone through the trajectory of good development, and he has every right to actually demand that, oh coach, are you going to assure me of this thing? If you can assure him, it's also in the fold of 𝐒𝐿 to say things that would be appealing to the goalkeeper, that okay, this is the present situation of things, this is what we can do, and this is what I can offer you with the national team. But I'm not sure of the common ground of both parties actually settled for. But for Maduka Okoye, I'm very sure that we know, or I know, what he can deliver for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And even on a good day, I know what he can do within the sticks of the Super Eagles and also with his club side. And even as a person, I know what he can deliver. But now that we don't have him in the sticks, let's just hope that either of the trio, that Amas Obasioge, Francis Uzo, or Stanley Wabali, would give us peace of mind, because that's really something we want in the goalkeeping department. I know for so many Nigerians, we've looked at the past games in which Stanley Wabali has been in goal, and we add our throat, our mouth, definitely almost a throwing out.
Okay, so we leave that to the head coach of the team to sort out and see who's the best for the Eagles. I know a few Nigerians, or I can't put numbers to this, but Nigerians are not too certain, too optimistic about these Eagles. And I know the Eagles a little bit when the chips are down. There's a way they kind of resonate something in the minds of Nigerians.
Yeah, when they do that, have they won anything since 2018? So we can't say they do that, because they've really not won anything. They always get close.
No.
But
These Super Eagles, give them a target.
a target.
Yes.
This one's
Yes.
quarterfinals if they get there.
Wow.
Yes. There's a decline in this squad, if we are being frank.
But if they exceed the quarterfinal, will you be happy?
No. They should go further than they achieved last year.
That's winning. The last time where we did well was in the final. Did well was in 2013. That's the thing where we won. The last time we got close to lifting was.
Okay, we also say since 2014, our football has really not been the same. 2013, Stephen Keshi, I think it was the last good manager we really had. Won the African Cup of Nations in South Africa, went to the World Cup in 2014, got to the round of 16, defeated by the almighty France, even though they didn't win the World Cup then. But then, from that 2014, what did we do? 2015, where we had the African Cup of Nations.
Okay.
2018, we went to the World Cup.
All right.
2019, we finished where? Well, 2018, I think we still played the African Cup of Nations when we finished third.
Okay.
2017.
All right. So we need to move because of our time. Let's talk some European football as we wrap up the show this Monday afternoon. So, SAMIES, here you have in front of me the slide for the Italian Serie A. Inter Milan on 32 points. 33 points rather. AC Milan on 32 points after they failed to get a win against Sassuolo on Sunday afternoon. Napoli, they lost to Udinese by goal to nil on 31 points, sits third, and fourth is the club from the Eternal City Olimpico in Rome, AS Roma, sit fourth in terms of the last UEFA Champions League spot for Italy. And for Juventus Football Club, a big win for them against Bologna last night by goal to nil. They are fifth. So there you have it in terms of the composition of the table. So we'll get to talk about that, SAMIES. This might not be 1 or 2. It might be 1, 2, 3 pushing for the title at the end of May.
Yeah, in the Italian Serie A, I think in recent years we've seen this sort of competition in the league, and it's definitely good for Italian football as well. But one thing I really don't like is the recycling of managers that has gone down in the Italian Serie A, and players also moving up from that rival clubs, and that's also one thing the Italian Serie A, well, maybe just pitch so well. But for Inter Milan, after last season where they lost the league to Napoli in the last 5 games of the league, I think they would also want to go on a run of winning the title. Let's also have in mind that they are playing in the UEFA Champions League. They have all the trophies available for them to play for this season. But on the other hand, AC Milan missing out on UEFA competitions, and of course they are second, and the recruitment they also made. And then you look at the time they would have to rest off some of after a game day. They've been dumped out of the Coppa Italia as well, and now this is the time for them. Napoli still challenging AS Roma. They are here. They are playing in the I think that's the Europa League. Europa League. Juventus no. They are playing in the Champions League.
They are playing the Champions League.
So you look at
So
Bologna.
all the 6 clubs as we speak here on this table, apart from AC Milan, are all playing continental football.
Yes, they are playing European club football.
Yeah.
But for this AC Milan side, I want to look at them as a side that can maybe win the title. And if they win the title, I want to also question Juventus. What has happened to this club side in the last 4-5 years?
All right, so that's the question that the head coach now in charge.
But before we leave the Italian Serie A,
will have to answer.
There is a club side playing in the Europa Conference League, and they did so well last season. Fiorentina, they finished 6th, and they are yet to win a game this season.
They are struggling, and it's so amazing that the club from the city of Florence is in this bad shape.
They still have Moiskin, they still have David De Gea. So what's the problem?
𝐿. So let's quickly talk about more in terms of what we saw over the weekend. League football from Italy, we jump over to England because tonight there will be one game in the English Premier League. Old Trafford, Manchester United will play against AFC Bournemouth, and that will be the last game for this weekend before we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, and there will be cup games in England ahead of the festive period. So, Samis, take me through what happened. Let's start with the biggest game. If you think the biggest game was the game between Palace and Manchester City, maybe you're wrong. If you think the biggest game was the one involving Liverpool and Brighton, because that also got in terms the headlines. Maybe to some extent also you didn't notice that there was a big and massive derby between Sunderland Football Club and Newcastle. Newcastle is about telling Sunderland, don't come to this city and make noise. We've got the EFL Cup. We're playing Champions League football. We play UEFA Cup. And well, what are you guys doing? Nothing. But they are back from League One to the Championship in the last 10 years, and now they look like a team that wants to, push for something at the end of May. They've got a couple of players, about 6 of them, going to the African Cup of Nations. Simon Adigra can't because he was not called up by the defending champion, the Ivory Coast. So, Samis, what a game we saw last night. Sunderland could not score. Newcastle scored, but was an own goal. And so that means, in terms of the bragging right now as we speak, the Black Cats are the ones having it.
Well, for the game that went on there at the Stadium of Light yesterday for Sunderland, I think it's just a revenge of what happened last year, 2024, at the FA Cup. I remember I was telling you that these sides are faced off of recent, and that was last year. I didn't even know it was last year. I thought it was early this year. But so we talk about the performance last year and also this year. And what happened? 9 yellow cards were shown on the field of play, and I saw the fans.
That's a proper derby.
A proper derby.
Yeah.
And the fans actually were roaring to this. To every tackle, to every challenge given by the Black Cats. That's players of Sunderland. And eventually the game ended 1-0. And he also said that for Sunderland, I think they are doing so well for themselves this season, and I want to see how they are going to retain this form with their players are going to the African Cup of Nations at this point in time. That would be so much of a big struggle for them. But for this side who are unbeaten at home this season, and you said that that's actually a good performance from this side coming from the Championship. They didn't spend much, but they spent wisely.
But not
spent money on leaders.
But not
spent money on leaders.
From
their defeat to Newcastle last season, it was only one player that was on the field of play then, and that's Daniel Ballard.
No, I'm just going to say that you made a good point. Say they're both leaders, but not household name.
Not household.
Maybe for Granit Xhaka, but in terms of Ronaldo, the Mozambican, Traore, the Burkinabe, Simon Adingra, the Ivory Coast, Sadiki, the DR Congo player. I just mentioned a few African players who will be on their way as we speak right now to AFCON. There will be 2 games later today in the MPFL starting the next 4 minutes. Ikorodu City will be playing against Katsina United. Rivers, with a win against Wiki, will go top of the NPFL table. And of course, one game in Spain, in Madrid, Real Vallecano will play against Royal Betis. AS Roma tonight will play against Como 1907. And so they have it. Samis, quickly touch about the NPFL. I love what I saw yesterday, even though you can't be too sure about Shooting Stars, but it was a good win for them away from home against, tell me the club.
Barrow Football Club.
Okay, I will always struggle to call that club. All right. Okay.
But for the defending champions, it's not been the best of title defense for them.
Yeah, they led against Bayelsa, it go to nil. Bayelsa battled back to get maximum point. And as we speak right now, Nasarawa United are top of the summit. And like I said, if Rivers gets a win today, they've got about 2 outstanding games. So imagine they get a win in the next few hours against Wiki, they will go top of the table for now. Nasarawa United will be looking at this table and they will be smiling with 31 points. Shooting Stars, you want to ask, they are on the 7th place on the table with 26 points. But that win away from home yesterday was good. And of course,
second time in Kano.
Second time they're doing that.
And that's the second time in Kano. I remember that game, 1-1, where we had players being harassed on the field of play.
Yeah, it was good yesterday. There was nothing like that happen. So that's the much we can bring to you. If you enjoyed this edition of the show, join us again on Tuesday. But for Tuesday, we'll be here first 7:40 for Scoreboard in 15, and then we'll come back for Scoreboard Reloaded 3:30 on Tuesday. And then when we come, more about the African Cup of Nations, more build up to the Super Eagles friendly game against the Pharaohs of Egypt on Tuesday night. Okay, coming up, once we're out of year 4 on the dot will be the news. And of course, three and go nowhere. I know you are on holiday, you've been to the Santa in the last few hours. Stay, because those calls will come. Get mommy and daddy to call into the studio and tell them that you are the go-to today, and then you stand the chance of winning something. For those who have won, congratulations to you. And for those who are yet to win, just hope that your name or your call comes in, and then we'll talk to you. Samis, thank you for doing this with me. I am Peter Omo.